Hello everyone. This week's parsha is Parashat Chaye. Now, in this week's parsha, it says in the Torah that Avram Avinu, his wife passed away, and Avram Avinu, he wants to find a wife for his son Yitzchak. So it says in the Torah, he calls his son, his servant, his trustworthy servant. His name was Eliezer, and he sends him to go and find a wife for his son Yitzchak. But what's interesting is, before he sends him, he makes him promise. He tells him, "I want you to promise, that you will find a proper wife for my son Yitzchak." He doesn't just trust him, but he makes him promise. He makes him swear. And the Torah says, in the pasuk, it says, "Vayomer Avram el avdo zekan beito," and Avram said to his servant, the elder of his household, "Hamoshel b'chol asher lo," who controlled all that he had, that was his. "Simna yadecha tachat yerechi," please place now your hand under my thigh. Now, he was Avram Avinu's trustworthy servant. Now the question is, why does the Torah repeat to us? Why does the Torah have to tell us that he was a trustworthy, that he was his servant? We know about Eliezer already from the Torah, and we know who he was. So why does the Torah have to tell us? Why does the Torah have to tell us this? It has to tell us about Eliezer, who Eliezer was. And also, if Abraham Avinu, and we know Eliezer, he was his, he managed his household. So if he managed him, why doesn't Abraham Avinu trust him? Why does he make him swear? He tells him, "I want you to swear that you're going to find, that you're going to go to my relatives, to my family, and you will find a wife for my son Yitzchak from that place." So Rab Chaim Soloveitchik asks this question, and he gives an answer. Let's take a scenario. Let's say a person comes to a new town, and he wants to eat food, so he looks for kosher food. And he finds there's a big sign that says kosher restaurant. So some people will take it as it says kosher. That's it, with the blind eyes, they take it as a face value. They'll go and they will eat and they will go into the restaurant and eat. Some people, they'll say, "You know what? Let me see who's the owner of the restaurant. Is he trustworthy? Not trustworthy?" So they might go and speak with the owner of the restaurant, and then they'll make their own decision. Some people, those who are a little bit more strict, they might go outside and ask around from religious Jews or from the rabbi or from the local rabbi, whoever the rabbi is, to find out about the restaurant, if it's trustworthy or not, if I could eat here or not. Which means, there are some levels by when it comes when a person comes to eat. Now let's take a different scenario. Let's say a person has he has a property. He has a lot of property, and let's say if it's in a different state, and every month he goes and he collects his let's say multi-million rents from all those properties which are in different state. Now it's getting hard for him to do this. So he decides, the time came for me to get a property manager. So he's looking for a property manager. He goes, he walks around, and finally he sees a sign, a big sign. It says property manager. Would that person just go into the store, to that store, and tell them, I am giving over to you all my property, please collect money from my property? Would he do that? A person probably would not do that. Why? Because he has millions of dollars. How would he? How is it possible? Like, why would he trust all that amount with this property management if he doesn't even know who they are? So he would make a lot of investigation. Of course, he would have his lawyers in, and he would have people sign documents and everything. It wouldn't be just as a face value, take that property management and say that's it. I'll just sign with them, and they'll probably do their job. That's the difference between, some people. So if we take these two scenarios, so some people would say, listen, kashrut is kashrut, and here's my money. Here it has to do with my money, which means when it comes to money, we put so much effort. And when it comes to kashrut, some people, like I said, will just take a face value, kosher, that's it, close their eyes and go and eat, finish. And they won't even investigate. But even those who will investigate, it just comes to a certain point, and that's it. So now, so the question is, meaning, so we see from here, whatever is more important for a person, whatever is more important, he will put more value, more time for it. So by Avraham Avinu, for Avraham Avinu, what was more prioritized by him? What had much more priority? Avraham Avinu's priorities was not who's going to manage his money. Of course, he needed Eliezer to manage his properties and everything. Avram Avinu, Eliezer was good enough to manage his properties. He entrusted him everything. He entrusted everything with Eliezer, but except for finding a wife for his son, which means building a Jewish nation, he did not trust him. He made him promise. He told him, I want you to promise. Why? Because listen, property, it's good. But here we're talking about Kedusha, here we're talking about holiness. With holiness, I would not trust you. With holiness, I want you to promise. Which means a person who deals with my property, it does not mean that then I will trust him with my holiness, with my spirituality, with the future of my nation. I will not entrust you with that, and I will make you swear. That's what he told him. Go and swear. Now we have to prioritize in our lives also. What's more important, and what's priority, and what's secondary. What's more important in our life? The spirituality is more important, or the physicality is more important? And what do we prioritize? I'm not saying that physicality is not important. It's very important. Of course, we need that. Of course, we need. The question is, what's more prioritized? Shabbat Shalom.